Every major life change begins inside the mind before it ever appears on the outside. The most formidable obstacles you will face are not physical mountains, but the private stories you tell yourself about what is possible. Limiting beliefs are those stories. They often begin in a single line: a parent spoke, a teacher's dismissal, or a cultural narrative repeated until it felt like law. Over years, those ideas harden into rules for living, and those rules operate quietly, dictating choices with the authority of habit rather than truth. Consider a child told to be realistic about her talents, who hears that art is for hobbyists and not for a practical career. That voice becomes the map she carries into adulthood. When an opportunity to show her work appears, she hesitates. When the market values her work, she underprices it because the map says prosperity is not for people like her. She calls her restraint prudence, but prudence in this context serves fear. The belief predecided the outcome before evidence could appear, and her actions follow the script of the old rule. Limiting beliefs often start as survival strategies. After a painful experience, the mind generalizes to protect you from future harm. One breakup can be recorded as proof that relationships are dangerous. One failed venture can be recorded as evidence that entrepreneurship is reckless. The brain's job is to predict and to protect, so it builds heuristics from single data points. Those heuristics are useful in the short term but become prisons if they are never revised. A system designed to prevent pain can over time prevent progress. Breaking the invisible chains begins with awareness. You must become an honest observer of your inner narration. Notice the immediate responses you have to possibility. When a new door opens, do you think of logistics and planning, or do old sentences like "I am not ready" or "I am not worthy" rise uninvited? Write down those automatic thoughts. Name them. The act of naming is not condemnation, it is diagnosis. When a problem has a name, you can treat it, and when belief is visible, it can be questioned. Interrogate each belief like a scientist testing a hypothesis. Ask where it originated. Ask what concrete evidence supports it today. Ask what contradictory evidence exists. Most limiting beliefs persist because they are fueled by emotional memory rather than replicable facts. If you believe you always fail, collect the full data set of your life, not only the painful samples. You will find wins, recoveries, and contexts where you succeeded. Seeing the fuller picture weakens the simplistic rule: fear drew after a hurtful event. Design small experiments that provide disconfirming evidence. If your belief says you cannot lead, lead a short volunteer project and measure the outcomes. If your belief says you cannot save, start a modest savings plan and document the balance. The point is not immediate mastery, but the accrual of proof. Habits change by repetition, and the mind is persuaded by repeated outcomes more reliably than by a single affirmation. Evidence dissolves belief more reliably than willpower alone. Replace the old narrative with practices that embody the new truth. Reframing is not pretending. It is restructuring your life so the evidence aligns with the claim. Create a morning protocol that includes short study time, a declaration of intent, and a ledger where you record small wins. If your new belief is that you are resourceful, document solved problems consistently. Over weeks, the ledger becomes a library of proof the mind cannot ignore, and the new story gains traction through lived experience. Curate the inputs that feed your thinking. Your beliefs are nourished by environment. The media you consume, the conversations you tolerate, and the people you spend time with are fertilizers or toxins for mental scripts. If you digest scarcity narratives daily, your mind will grow corresponding fruit. If you immerse yourself in communities that model courage, stewardship, and creative work, your mind will be introduced to new possibilities. This is not betrayal of the past, it is stewardship of your future. Expect resistance and do not mistake it for failure. Recalibrating a long-held belief triggers pushback in the form of excuses, fatigue, and emotional agitation. The brain prefers familiar narratives because familiarity reduces short-term threat. Resistance is therefore signal, not condemnation. Treat it as feedback. When resistance rises, attend to the area with calibrated small actions, and the nervous system will learn a new baseline. Consistency reduces the drama and rewires the reflex. Practice compassionate curiosity toward yourself. People often attack themselves for holding limiting beliefs, and that self-criticism entrenches shame. Ask instead what the belief tried to protect you from and what price it exacted. That gentle inquiry reduces internal conflict and opens a path for faster change. You can be honest about your patterns without being brutal to the person who formed them under difficult conditions. Compassion speeds recovery and steadies resolve. Ritualize the new beliefs until they are ordinary. Habits and rituals are the architecture of identity. Build non-negotiable practices that require presence and produce evidence. Protect a daily learning block, defend a planning hour, and schedule a weekly review of wins and lessons. Rituals convert aspiration into default behavior. Identity follows consistent action, and when you honor small appointments with your future begins to honor you. Finally, track progress and celebrate incremental liberation. Keep a journal of the beliefs you challenged, the experiments you ran, and the outcomes you recorded. Review that journal monthly and note how the ratio of evidence shifts in favor of your new story. Micro-celebrations are not vanity. They are cognitive deposits that renovate the soil of your mind. As the ledger fills, the old chains lose their authority and your inner narrative reorients toward possibility. The labor of breaking invisible chains is ordinary and persistent. There will not be a single cinematic night of transcendence. Freedom is earned through 1,000 disciplined mornings of proof that outproduce the old lies. Begin with one belief today. Name it, challenge it, design a small experiment to disprove it, record the result, and repeat. The first link will creak, the next will loosen, and before long you will discover your capacity always exceeded the limits you accepted as truth. Keep faith in the process and treat yourself as a work in progress rather than a broken product. The life you desire will be built one honest belief and one consistent action at a time. Your beliefs are not just private thoughts floating in the background of your life. They are the architects of your identity and the engineers of your destiny. Everything you see, every decision you make, every opportunity you accept or reject, all of it is filtered through the lens of what you believe about yourself and about the world. Beliefs operate like the operating system of a computer. If the code is corrupted, the programs will not run properly, no matter how new or shiny the applications. If your beliefs are corrupted by fear, doubt, or self-loathing, then no matter how many resources you gather or how many strategies you learn, you will sabotage yourself at the moment of execution. Identity is the first domain shaped by belief. What you believe about who you are will become a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe you are weak, you will not exert the effort necessary to test your strength. If you believe you are incapable of leadership, you will shy away from situations where leadership is required. If you believe money is evil, you will subconsciously repel it even while verbally claiming you want more. Identity forms around belief because human beings crave consistency. The mind wants your actions to match your beliefs, even if those beliefs are destructive. This explains why someone who deep down believes they are unworthy will sabotage relationships that could be healthy. Their actions bend toward alignment with belief. Destiny is the long-term harvest of repeated identity-driven actions. What you believe shapes your self-concept, and your self-concept dictates your daily behavior. Those daily behaviors accumulate into a destiny. If you consistently believe you are not disciplined, then you will neglect practices that demand discipline, like saving money or exercising. Over years, that neglect manifests as financial instability or health decline. The outer reality is simply the magnified consequence of inner beliefs lived out daily. Your destiny, therefore, is not accidental. It is an echo of your beliefs spoken into action. Beliefs also determine how you interpret the world. Two people can walk into the same circumstance and see entirely different realities. One sees opportunity, the other sees threat. One sees a challenge to grow, the other sees a trap to avoid. The difference is not in the circumstance itself, but in the filter of belief. If you believe life is fundamentally hostile, you will brace for attack even when kindness approaches. If you believe life is filled with possibility, you will discover options even in adversity. The world you live in is colored not by neutral facts, but by the hue of your beliefs. The most insidious part of belief is that it rarely announces itself. Most people do not walk around saying, "I believe I am inadequate," or "I believe life is hopeless." Instead, those beliefs are embedded in habits and emotional responses. You avoid applying for a promotion not because you say you are unworthy, but because you feel unprepared. You avoid starting the business not because you openly declare failure is inevitable, but because you quietly delay until the moment passes. That delay is a belief in disguise. That hesitation is a silent verdict about who you think you are. The way forward begins with radical responsibility. You must accept that what you repeatedly believe about yourself is what you are becoming. You must admit that your destiny will not be different from your identity, and your identity will not be different from your beliefs. This is not condemnation, it is liberation. Because if your destiny flows from belief, then by reshaping belief, you alter destiny. You are not locked in, you are simply running code that can be rewritten. The beliefs you inherited or absorbed can be reprogrammed into beliefs you design. To reshape belief, you must engage in consistent exposure to truth that contradicts the lie. If you believe you are powerless, immerse yourself in stories of people who rose from weakness into influence. If you believe money corrupts, study the lives of those who used wealth to transform communities. If you believe you are unworthy of love, expose yourself to examples of unconditional acceptance until your nervous system learns that rejection is not the only pattern. Belief is not erased in an instant, it is replaced through saturation. The old story loses strength as the new story gains evidence and repetition. Action is the cement of belief. You cannot simply think differently, you must live differently. If you are rewriting the belief, I am not disciplined, then set one non-negotiable habit and execute it daily. Each act becomes evidence that your identity is changing. If you are rewriting the belief, I am not a leader, then volunteer to lead in small environments where risk is low but responsibility is real. Each successful outcome becomes evidence that the old belief was fraudulent. Over time, the ledger of action outweighs the archive of lies. Your identity shifts because you behaved into a new truth. Guard your words because they are beliefs spoken out loud. Every time you say, I can't, I never, I always, you are reinforcing identity with verbal contracts. Begin to speak the language of possibility, not delusion, but potential. Replace I can't with I am learning. Replace I never with I haven't yet. Replace I always fail with I am practicing until I succeed. These are not semantics, they are contracts. Your brain hears them and your actions align with them. Words are the steering wheel of belief, and careless speech is reckless driving. Surround yourself with people whose beliefs about themselves and the world are expansive. Environments either reinforce your current beliefs or challenge them into growth. If you walk with people who constantly declare limitation, you will absorb their map of reality. If you walk with people who live in courage, discipline, and faith, you will catch their vision. Community is a mirror. Choose a mirror that reflects who you want to become, not who you have been told you are. Ultimately, belief is stewardship. You are the gatekeeper of the thoughts that define your identity and design your destiny. Every day you are planting seeds through what you choose to believe. Those seeds will grow into habits, decisions, outcomes, and eventually legacy. If you want a different harvest, you must sow different beliefs. That work begins now in the hidden garden of the mind. Rewrite the code. Plant the seeds of possibility. Water them with consistent action. Guard them with careful speech. Protect them with wise community. Your destiny will bend toward the new beliefs, as surely as a river bends toward the sea. Negative thinking is not harmless. It is not simply a bad habit you can excuse because everyone does it. Negative thinking is a thief, and its robbery is subtle but devastating. Every time you allow your mind to rehearse fear, failure, scarcity, or defeat, you are spending currency from your future. The cost is not just in emotions. The cost is in energy, in time, in relationships, in opportunities, and ultimately in destiny. You must understand that negative thinking does not stay in your head. It leaks into your words, your posture, your actions, and the way people respond to you. It becomes the silent architect of mediocrity. The first cost of negative thinking is the drain on your emotional energy. When your mind constantly generates worst-case scenarios, you live in a perpetual state of stress. Your body floods with cortisol and adrenaline, preparing for battles that may never come. Over time, this stress exhausts you. You wake up tired, you move through the day with heaviness, and you go to sleep without true rest. Negative thinking is like running a marathon in your mind every single day without ever leaving your chair. The body cannot sustain it, and the spirit cannot thrive in it. The second cost is lost time. Every minute spent ruminating on what might go wrong is a minute stolen from what could be made right. Negative thinking keeps you analyzing instead of acting, doubting instead of doing. How many dreams have died not because the person lacked talent or opportunity, but because they sat paralyzed in endless what-ifs? What if I fail? What if they laugh? What if I lose money? Each what-if becomes a chain around the ankle and the clock keeps ticking. Time wasted on negative thinking is time you will never recover. It is a silent tax on your destiny. The third cost is fractured relationships. Negative thinkers repel people of vision and hope. No one wants to spend time with someone who constantly finds problems but never solutions. Negative thinking poisons conversations. It magnifies flaws in others. It projects suspicion into trust. It creates unnecessary conflict by interpreting neutral actions as hostile. A person consumed by negativity will eventually find themselves isolated, surrounded only by others who complain, criticize, and confirm the cycle. And when your circle is made up of negativity, you are imprisoned in an echo chamber of defeat. The fourth cost is missed opportunities. Life often delivers chances disguised as challenges. To the eye of faith, every obstacle contains potential. To the eye of negativity, every obstacle is proof that success is impossible. Imagine two people offered the same opportunity to start a business. One sees risk, but also growth, independence, and prosperity. The other sees only potential failure, embarrassment, and loss. The one who acts discovers new possibilities. The one who hesitates confirms their belief that life never gives them a break. The opportunity was the same. The belief determined the harvest. The fifth cost is the shaping of your identity. When you consistently think negatively, you begin to identify as a pessimist. You say things like, "I'm just being realistic," but what you call realism is often fear with makeup on. The more you practice negative thinking, the more it becomes who you are. You no longer simply think negative thoughts, you become a negative person. This identity shapes your posture, your tone, your expectations, and eventually your results. Identity solidifies destiny, and a negative identity almost guarantees a diminished future. The sixth cost is spiritual blindness. Negative thinking closes your eyes to gratitude and possibility. You stop noticing the blessings that surround you because your attention is glued to what is missing. You fail to see the doors that are opening because you are staring at the walls. Gratitude expands vision, negativity narrows it. Where gratitude multiplies resources, negativity multiplies lack. What you focus on expands, and if you focus on negativity, you will live in a world that feels perpetually hostile and unfair. Your mind becomes your prison, and you are both the prisoner and the guard. Now, how do you break free from this expensive habit? The first step is awareness. Most people swim in negativity without realizing it because it has become their default setting. Begin to track your thoughts the way you would track expenses. Write down the recurring themes. Do you constantly predict failure? Do you replay offenses from the past? Do you exaggerate problems while ignoring solutions? Awareness is the ledger that reveals where your mental currency is being spent. When you see it on paper, the cost becomes undeniable. The second step is interruption. You cannot simply wish negativity away. You must actively interrupt it. When you catch yourself spiraling into a negative loop, speak out loud to break the pattern. Declare a truth that contradicts the lie. Replace "I can't handle this" with "I am learning to handle challenges." Replace "nothing ever works out" with "I am persistent and persistence pays." This is not self-deception, it is self-direction. You are steering your mind away from the ditch and back onto the road of possibility. The third step is substitution. Empty space will always be filled. If you remove negative thoughts but do not replace them, the old patterns will return. Choose affirmations, scriptures, or wisdom sayings that align with the future you desire. Read them, speak them, meditate on them until they become more familiar than the lies. Feed your mind with positive, empowering content, daily books, podcasts, conversations with uplifting people. Just as a healthy diet replaces junk food, a healthy mental diet replaces negativity with possibility. The fourth step is practice. Do not expect instant perfection. Years of negative thinking will not disappear in a day, but each time you redirect a thought, you are rewiring your brain. Neuroscience confirms that repetition builds new pathways. Every small victory strengthens your mental muscles. Over time, you will notice that negativity no longer has the same grip. What once consumed you becomes a whisper you can dismiss. The practice transforms into a habit, and the habit transforms into identity. Finally, the fifth step is gratitude. Gratitude is the master key that dissolves negativity. Begin each day by listing what you are thankful for. End each night by reflecting on what went right. Train your eyes to see the good even in difficulty. Gratitude does not deny problems, it reframes them. It reminds you that even in lack you have abundance, even in trial you have strength, even in delay you have opportunity. Gratitude shifts your focus from scarcity to sufficiency, from despair to hope, from defeat to resilience. Where negativity drains, gratitude replenishes. Negative thinking is expensive. It costs you energy, time, relationships, opportunities, identity, and vision. But you are not condemned to pay this tax forever. You can choose a new economy of thought. You can invest in gratitude, faith, possibility, and courage. You can redirect the flow of your inner dialogue, and in doing so, redirect the trajectory of your life. Your mind is soil. Plant seeds of negativity and reap weeds. Plant seeds of possibility and reap abundance. The choice is yours, and the harvest will reveal what you decided. Abundance does not begin with money in your hand, it begins with thoughts in your mind. If your inner world is programmed for scarcity, you could win the lottery and still find yourself broke within a few years. But if your inner world is programmed for abundance, you can start with nothing and build something extraordinary. The truth is, your outer life is always catching up to your inner beliefs. And the good news is this: your programming can be rewritten. You are not stuck with the mental code you inherited from your parents, your culture, or your past mistakes. You have the ability and the responsibility to reprogram your mind for abundance so that your life can reflect the prosperity that has always been available to you. Abundance is not about greed, nor is it about hoarding. It is about recognizing that the universe, creation, or however you define it, operates on principles of multiplication, growth, and overflow. Nature itself is abundant. One seed produces hundreds of grains. One tree drops thousands of seeds every season. The ocean never runs out of waves. The sky never runs out of stars. Lack is not the natural state, it is the exception. But scarcity thinking trains you to see only limits, only shortages, only closed doors. Reprogramming your mind means learning to see like the Creator sees, possibility everywhere, overflow everywhere, opportunity everywhere. The first step in reprogramming is identifying your scarcity scripts. These are the phrases you tell yourself about why you can't have or achieve more. Phrases like, money doesn't grow on trees, rich people are selfish, I'm not good with money, or there's never enough to go around. You may not even realize these phrases are running in the background of your mind, but they shape your daily behavior. If you believe there's never enough, you will hold back instead of investing. If you believe wealth is corrupt, you will sabotage your earning potential to preserve your self-image. Scarcity scripts are invisible fences keeping you in a small field when the entire pasture is available. Once you've identified the scripts, the second step is to challenge them with truth. Begin asking better questions. Is it true that there's never enough, or do I see people every day who are living in abundance? Is it true that wealth corrupts, or is it the character of a person that determines how money is used? Is it true that I'm not good with money, or have I simply never been trained to manage it? These questions open cracks in the wall of scarcity, and light begins to break through. The truth is, there is more than enough opportunity in the world, but only those with abundant thinking recognize and act on it. The third step is visualization and imagination. Abundance begins by seeing it inside before you ever touch it outside. Sit down daily and imagine the life you want to live. See yourself healthy, strong, resourced, and generous. See yourself handling money wisely, investing confidently, giving freely. Your brain cannot distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and lived experiences. Visualization rehearses the future until your subconscious accepts it as possible. Over time, your actions shift to align with what your mind already believes to be real. This is why athletes visualize winning before stepping onto the field. They are programming their minds for success before the game begins. The fourth step is affirmations aligned with abundance. Your words are powerful containers. They either carry life or they carry death. Start declaring words that affirm the abundant reality you are building. Say things like, opportunities are drawn to me, I manage resources wisely, I attract the right connections, I am designed to prosper. Don't just recite them like empty slogans, speak them with conviction, with emotion, with imagination. Every declaration is a seed planted in the soil of your subconscious. If you water those seeds daily with repetition and action, you will see the fruit in your circumstances. The fifth step is action that matches abundant thinking. It's not enough to think abundant thoughts, you must practice abundant behavior. This does not mean reckless spending or pretending you have resources you don't. It means behaving as a wise steward. Save consistently, even if it's small. Invest in your learning. Give generously at your level. Say yes to opportunities that stretch you. Behave as if more is possible, and your actions will create pathways for more to flow to you. Scarcity thinking causes paralysis, but abundant thinking produces motion. Motion creates momentum, and momentum attracts provision. The sixth step is gratitude. Gratitude is the bridge between where you are and where you are going. If you cannot be thankful for what you have now, you will not be faithful with more later. Gratitude multiplies. When you give thanks for little, you prepare yourself to handle much. Start every day by naming what you already have that is good health, skills, connections, opportunities, even challenges that sharpen you. Gratitude turns what you have into enough, and enough is the foundation of overflow. The person who sees abundance in little will be trusted with greater abundance in much. The seventh step is environment. Your mind is porous. It absorbs what surrounds it. If you live in an environment where people constantly complain, constantly predict failure, constantly fear tomorrow, you will absorb their scarcity mindset. But if you surround yourself with people who are building, creating, giving, and growing, your subconscious will begin to align with abundance. Choose mentors, communities, and media that reinforce abundance. Feed your mind on books, teachings, and conversations that elevate your vision. The soil you plant yourself in determines the fruit you bear. The 8th step is patience and persistence. Reprogramming takes time. Scarcity beliefs often have decades of reinforcement. You may find yourself slipping back into old thoughts. Don't condemn yourself. Redirect yourself. Every time you catch scarcity, replace it with abundance. Every time you feel fear, act in courage. Every time you doubt, speak possibility. Slowly but surely, the old code is overwritten. New neural pathways are built. Abundance becomes your default setting, not scarcity. Consistency is the engine of transformation. The 9th step is generosity. Generosity is the proof that abundance has taken root in your mind. When you can release resources, time, and energy to bless others, you demonstrate that you trust there will always be more. Generosity proves you are not enslaved to scarcity. Start small, but be consistent. Share knowledge, encourage others, give financially as you are able. Each act of generosity tells your subconscious that you are not in lack. It conditions your mind to expect overflow. And as you give, you position yourself to receive, because abundance flows through open hands. Reprogramming your mind for abundance is not a one-time event. It is a lifestyle. It is the daily choice to reject scarcity scripts and embrace the principles of overflow. It is the discipline of visualization, declaration, action, gratitude, environment, persistence, and generosity. Over time, your outer world will reflect the abundance you have cultivated inside. You will see opportunities others miss, take risks others fear, and reap harvests others say are impossible. You will not only prosper for yourself, you will become a channel of abundance for your family, your community, and generations to come. Living beyond your old beliefs is the ultimate test of transformation because it requires you to step into a version of yourself that your past cannot recognize. Your old beliefs have been the invisible architects of your behavior, shaping how you see the world, how you see yourself, and how you interpret opportunities. They have been both your prison and your protection, but in 2025, the call is to break free. The world is shifting, opportunities are accelerating, and those who cling to outdated patterns will watch others overtake them. If you are willing to rise, you must confront your old beliefs, dismantle them piece by piece, and walk boldly into a new identity that matches the future you are creating. Old beliefs show up as familiar voices in your head, whispering doubt when you dare to dream. They say things like, you're not smart enough, you're too late, you're too young, you've failed too many times, you don't deserve it. These voices feel safe because you've lived with them so long, but safety is often the disguise of sabotage. Living beyond your old beliefs means no longer letting those voices narrate your life. It means replacing their authority with a higher authority, the truth of your potential, the evidence of your progress, and the vision of who you are becoming. In 2025, you cannot afford to let yesterday's narrative define tomorrow's story. One of the keys to living beyond old beliefs is awareness. Most people are unaware of the beliefs that hold them hostage. They operate on autopilot, reacting to life with patterns they never questioned. Awareness shines a light on the programs running beneath the surface. Begin by paying attention to your automatic responses. Do you immediately say, I can't afford that whenever you see an opportunity? Do you shrink back when a door opens because you don't feel worthy? Do you avoid risks because failure feels fatal? These automatic responses reveal your old beliefs. Awareness interrupts the cycle. When you see it, you can change it. When you ignore it, you stay trapped. The next key is acceptance. This does not mean accepting the lie. It means accepting that you believed it for so long and understanding how it shaped you. Beating yourself up for carrying an old belief only strengthens its grip. Instead, acknowledge it without shame. Say to yourself, yes, I believed that money was evil. Yes, I believed I wasn't good enough. Yes, I believed success was only for others. But today I release those beliefs. Acceptance disarms the lie because it no longer hides in the shadows. Lies lose their power when exposed to light. Acceptance allows you to forgive yourself for living small and prepares you to embrace expansion. The third key is alignment. Living beyond your old beliefs requires you to align your actions with your new identity before you fully feel ready. If you are stepping into abundance, act like a person of abundance today. Save, invest, and give at your level. If you are stepping into leadership, lead in small ways now, at work, at home, in your community. If you are stepping into boldness, say yes to opportunities that scare you. Action cements new beliefs. You don't wait until you feel abundant, confident, or qualified. You act now, and your feelings catch up to your actions. Alignment is the bridge between who you were and who you are becoming. Another critical element is association. You cannot live beyond your old beliefs if you stay surrounded by people who reinforce them. If your circle constantly reminds you of your limitations, you will stay small. If your circle doubts your dreams, you will question them too. In 2025, be intentional about your associations. Surround yourself with people who live at the level you aspire to. Learn from their example, absorb their mindset, and allow their energy to pull you higher. Association accelerates transformation. You rise faster when you run with those already moving in the direction you want to go. Living beyond your old beliefs also demands courage. Fear will always accompany growth. When you step beyond the boundary of your old identity, fear will scream, "Go back, it's safer there." But courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to move forward despite fear. Every breakthrough in your life will require you to do something uncomfortable. Apply for the opportunity you think you're underqualified for. Speak up in the room where you used to stay silent. Launch the idea that feels bigger than your resources. Courage stretches the limits of your belief system, and once stretched, you never return to your former size. Another key is consistency. Old beliefs do not disappear overnight. They return in cycles, often at the edge of your next breakthrough. You may conquer a belief about money, and months later, when faced with a new level of responsibility, the same scarcity thoughts resurface. Consistency means you keep applying the principles of truth, action, and courage again and again until the old belief loses its voice. Living beyond old beliefs is not a one-time event, it is a lifestyle of renewal. Every level of success will demand the death of a former belief that no longer fits who you are becoming. Faith is also central. Faith is the ability to believe in a future reality before it manifests. Faith is choosing to trust the process even when the evidence hasn't caught up yet. Old beliefs collapse when confronted by faith. Because faith says, I don't care what my past was, I don't care what I was told, I choose to believe in what I cannot yet see. Faith fuels persistence when obstacles appear. Faith gives you energy when progress feels slow. Faith assures you that living beyond your old beliefs is not only possible, it is inevitable if you refuse to quit. Finally, legacy. Living beyond your old beliefs is not just about you, it is about those who will follow after you. If you hold on to scarcity, fear, and limitation, you pass those same beliefs to your children, your community, and the people you influence. But if you break free, you create a ripple of freedom for others. You become living proof that transformation is possible. Your success is not just personal, it is generational. In 2025, your decision to live beyond your old beliefs has the power to change your family tree, your business, your city, and maybe even the world. So living beyond your old beliefs in 2025 means no longer allowing outdated scripts to dictate your choices. It means identifying, accepting, aligning, and acting on new truths. It means surrounding yourself with people who reinforce your vision, standing with courage in the face of fear, staying consistent when old patterns resurface, exercising faith in unseen realities, and leaving a legacy that outlives you. This is the year where you stop being a prisoner of your past and start being the architect of your future. The life you desire is waiting on the other side of those old beliefs. And the moment you step beyond them, the future you've been dreaming of begins.